What's up, guys? It's Joel Partridge Paintball. Today, media guy Doug is back on the channel.
And I'm an idiot.
As always, to talk about some products that we have here. We've got the Powerhouse Counterpunch Regulator offered by Powerhouse/Infamous/Powerhouse. And then we've got the Ninja Pro V3. And we are here to talk about some of the differences between the two, which one is better, and everything else like that. So, if you like this video, subscribe.
And use the link in the description to grab either one of these when you're done watching.
See you guys soon. Alrighty, Doug, it's late here at PunishersPayBee.com, and we are still pumping out content for the people. So, with that said, let's get straight into it. Powerhouse Counterpunch Regulator offered around $187.99. Around. And these are offered in a bunch of different cool anodized options. We've got the Ninja Pro V3, and I've got some nerd material for you guys, so I don't actually have to take these apart, thank the Lord Jesus. And Doug is laughing because deep down, I am the bigger nerd between the two.
He is.
So, with that said, let's talk about the Powerhouse Counterpunch Reg. $187.99. It is going to come with the Regulator case, which is nice. It is offered in a bunch of different colors, but we've got the traditional black here. It is a stainless steel cartridge, so it is going to be very nice and reliable from the top. It is a pin style, and it has these two burst discs here, which are, you use Allen keys for the burst disc, and it's got a fill nipple which uses a single O-ring to seal it, so it is very easy in maintenance. The Powerhouse Counterpunch Regulator. Doug?
So, being technical, out of what we have left from you guys buying so many Ninja Regs, we don't have a standard Pro V3 here. We do have the SLP though. We also have the Blackout to nicely compete with that one as well. But yes, so we have the Pro V3, SLP, also pin style, not ball style here. It's got your kind of more traditional burst discs on it. As far as adjusting your output pressure, that is also going to be an entirely different process than these guys, whereas you can adjust it with the Allen key. Here you have to actually take off your bonnet and then remove shims or add them before you raise the pressure.
You got to take this part too. You actually need a special tool.
Really? Okay, so I thought it was just from the outside. You can...
No. No. So you have to remove the bonnet on the Powerhouse counter. I'll get into that in a second.
Sure. But yes, Ninja is a lot more...
I'm going to nerd out because Doug's wrong.
It's fine. Ninja is a lot more of your traditional shit, is what you're used to seeing. Powerhouse is a fucking enigma to me. So.
Alright, so needless to say, we're going to talk about that because Doug doesn't know what he's talking about.
This is school time for me.
Okay, so shim stack design with the Pro V3, guys. Yep. It is offered in a bunch of different options. You've got SLP, which is going to be 300 fixed output pressure. You've got the normal Pro V3, which comes to you at right around 500 psi, somewhere in that range, and is adjustable from a output pressure of, I believe, right around 450 to 750 psi by adding or subtracting shims. It is a shim stack design, and it is offered in stainless steel cartridge, aluminum cartridge, brass cartridge, which is different compared to the Counterpunch. Counterpunch is only offered in stainless steel.
I didn't even know they did brass until we did that last video about it.
So what's kind of cool about the Counterpunch is the fact that it's only the most premium that you can get. Ninja allows you to kind of customize, right? You can do brass, you can do stainless steel, you can do aluminum, and it's going to be cheaper. So I think we should talk about price point before we really nerd out here. Is with price point, you're at right around $100, $100 to $120, depending upon, are you getting an SLP reg? That's a little bit extra. The stainless steel cartridge is a little bit extra.
Blackout is also its own charge too as well.
No, it's not. It's the same price as the just regular aluminum.
What is the metal? Is it just aluminum that they've blacked out?
The blackout is just the aluminum. So that is another option there. So another thing, before I forget about it, is the fill nipple on the Ninja Pro V3 is the same, very similar in design to the Counterpunch. It uses one O-ring, and the burst discs are your more traditional low profile burst discs, but they are just a normal burst disc, whereas this burst disc is a little bit different. So with that said, I think I got everything here.
So, I mean, that's a pretty inclusive list. So.
Let's talk about reliability and all that stuff.
Okay.
So this is going to be a wave spring design, and basically what they changed from the TKO to the Counterpunch is they changed the reg seat design basically.
Okay.
So when the marker fires, there's an influx of pressure, right? This opens up to allow pressure to travel to the marker. And with this, it is a much larger reg seat. It's going to come in contact. It's called the Power Puck, I think is the name that Powerhouse gives it.
Okay.
And it should be very, very reliable. And we did have quite a few TKOs that failed. We haven't had one counterpunch that's failed yet.
How long has it been out?
I'd say close to a year.
Okay.
Now, with that said, the Ninja regulators is a shim stack design, and you add and subtract shims in order to adjust output pressure. One other thing with this is that you need a special tool to adjust output pressure, whereas with that, you just add or subtract shims, which I for that reason, I do like the Ninja style reg more for that. So let's talk about like which one's better. So we actually had a customer come into the store and talk about that. So here's the Power Puck design. This is the piston, and this is your Power Puck. And as you guys can see, that is a really thick reg seat for anybody that's actually maintenance markers before. Usually the reg seat is, that's,
Oh wow.
yeah.
No, I've seen it
Imagine how long it would take for that to wear. That's the concept behind the reliability of the counterpunch. We actually had a customer email us, and he is a engineer. His name is Rob, Mr. Rob, and we're not gonna talk about his last name,
I'm not
but
gonna blast your last name on here.
yeah, Rob did some testing, and I think this is really cool because basically we found is, and we'll try and put it up on the screen, is that from a recharge rate and influx of pressure, he did pressure versus time. He found that the best was actually the counterpunch reg.
It had the shortest recharge time.
Correct. So, and it seemed like it went straight back to the 500 psi immediately. So I guess in a sense, I don't know if that would necessarily be consistency as compared to recharge rate, but if you're firing super fast, it could.
You could get like higher rates of fire, I guess.
Correct. So, but the counterpunch won over the Pro V3, and he also used the Haymaker, the TKO, the Ninja Pro V2. So he used a lot of different options, and definitively the best was the Powerhouse regs. So interesting concept. Thank you, Rob, for sending us that email.
I see that.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
But with that said, I guess from a real world application, we need to have a conversation about which one would we use. So, Doug, I want your opinion. You know, you're at $180 for the Powerhouse reg, US made. The Ninja reg is going to cost you right around $100. What's your thoughts on this?
For the fact that it's a little easier to work on, you don't need an extra special tool to adjust your pressures if you want. I'm looking here, and it is a notable difference, don't get me wrong, between the Pro V3
really
and the Counterpunch, but to me that's not enough of a difference to justify almost doubling the cost, I don't think. Plus, I just, for me, I'm a lot more used to working on things like this, and correct me if I am wrong or if I'm remembering wrong, Joel, if a burst disc does go on a Counterpunch versus on a Ninja reg, which is harder to replace?
I would actually make the argument that the Counterpunch is easier because you use an Allen key.
Okay.
Now, trying to find these burst discs are a little bit more difficult than finding those burst discs.
Sure.
But if you have an extra 1.8 burst disc or 7.5 burst disc, it's going to be a little bit easier.
You still have to rebuild the reg like you do with a Ninja as well?
Yeah, I mean, 1.8 is blowing for a reason.
Okay.
Right? 1.8 is blowing because it's introducing that much pressure to your marker and trying not to overload the marker. So if you're replacing the 1.8, you should actually be rebuilding your regulator, aka putting a new piston and reg seat into the marker.
Which is more difficult for those?
They're very similar.
Okay.
You take the bonnet off, pop the piston in, pop the reg seat in, the Power Puck, and you're done. Same thing with this. Very, very similar on that sense. So
overall, maintenance in that way, kind of a wash, but as far as changing the pressure, like the output pressure of the reg itself, sounds like it's a little easier, or at least more traditional for the Pro V2.
The Pro V3. Yeah,
Pro V3 rather.
Yeah, and the Pro V3 is cheaper, so I do like that. I think Rob's point is that it is a more consistent and better recharging rate with the Powerhouse reg as compared to the Ninja reg. So with that said, if you're looking for the premium level of performance and you don't really have to mess anything, This is a set output pressure of 450 psi. It's stainless steel. This is going to be a reg that you're going to purchase once and be done for a very long period of time. So with that said, I mean, this is definitely the superior regulator.
Here's what I'll say.
But it's $80 more.
It's $80 more.
$60 to $80 more.
If I'm a player who already has one, I may not feel inclined to go out and purchase a new one, upgrade, anything like that. But if mine ever broke, if something went that wrong with it, if it gets to be too old, or if I'm, say, newer to this and looking to get into it, I could see that being worth the investment. Like per what I, because I actually just got a burst disc replaced on a Ninja reg for one of my students at World Cup, and I think that was like $35 or so to go get that done.
Geez, wow.
Well, we also we gave it to Powerhouse because Ninja wasn't there, so Powerhouse did a Ninja reg for about $35.
Yeah, I think that was a very specific.
Kind of a unique situation.
There was reasoning behind that.
Okay,
and I won't get into that, but usually a burst disc is going to cost you about $5 usually.
And then the rebuild, if you can't do it yourself, I don't know how much they charge for labor.
$18 and $20 for both these regs is going to be relatively similar.
Okay,
so, but with that said, you're going to be in a situation where you're probably never going to have to rebuild this reg.
Right.
Realistically, with the Ninja Pro V3. It's possible that eventually over time you are going to have to replace the piston and rebuild it for $20. With that said, you're still cheaper. So the question you got to ask yourself is, one, does ano matter? Mm-hmm. Two, how much am I going to actually use this reg case? Because that is a nice feature. It's a $10, $20 feature. And then, three, is the consistency enough for me to matter to me? The consistency and the recharge rate. The fact that the wave spring and the power puck design is a better design, right? As as actually scientifically shown. Mm-hmm. With that said, I'm picking the Ninja.
I'm sticking with Ninja. I just like that it's simple. I'll pay the $20 to replace and get a rebuild if it happens that way.
Yeah, but both great companies and great regs. So it's tough.
I can't argue with this, Rob. I'm not going to argue with you on this. Objectively, it did perform better. That's fine. That's completely fine. But I am a creature of habit. I am what I am. I already have this. I'm not replacing it or upgrading it. But it's kind of funny. There's two just completely different camps with this stuff, and people will talk shit. They're like, "Oh, using that fucking Ninja reg, so that's your problem."
Yeah, but I mean, thank you to Rob for actually, doing the data and being like, "Yeah, this is the reality of the situation."
I objectively have no argument. I just like it.
For me, it's not liking it one over the other. I like the fact that you can get colors with the Counterpunch regs.
That's fair.
I think from a value perspective, if you're a customer watching this, I'm going to buy a Ninja reg over this just because one, you can adjust output pressure a little bit easier and it's cheaper. If money's not an object, I am choosing the Counterpunch because I can get some really cool design at the same price.
Right.
And even though we do sell mostly black, the anodizing is free.
They always look super sick too. When we go to events and stuff and they have all these different designs out there, it looks super sick. So I'm with you, Joel. If money is not an object,
Counterpunch.
Obviously. Yeah. It's the obvious choice. But for those of us normal humans that live a daily life and work a job, probably going to go with Ninja. So
for sure.
Up to you guys. I'm curious what people will think and how divisive this video might be, though. I'm very curious.
Yeah, we'll be curious, but we will definitely include that screenshot. Make sure that Doug gets that in the video.
Send that over to me,
and so that you guys can see it up close and personal.
Put it right there.
But thank you, Rob, for doing that. And overall, guys, both great regs. Both of us are choosing the Ninja reg. Just from a value perspective, it's cheaper. But if you guys want a reg that's going to last you a long time and really never have to worry about rebuilding it or anything else like that, the Counterpunch is the ultimate when it comes to tank regulators.
Correct.
So.
But thank you guys for watching. Much appreciated. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, check out link in the description again if you want to pick up either one of these bad boys, and we will catch you in the next one.